and welcome to Charts and Hearts. I'm Sarah, and she's Lindsay.
And together we're working our way through an epic list of rom-coms in order to find and categorize tropes in the hopes of creating the nerdiest spreadsheet podcasts have ever seen.
Today we're kicking off summer wedding season by talking about The Wedding Planner.
Oh boy.
Oh golly gee. So in case you have blocked The Wedding Planner from your memory, and I wouldn't blame you because I had also, The Wedding Planner came out in 2001 and it stars Jennifer Lopez and Matthew McConaughey. And like individual moments of this movie are very cute and charming.
I agree. Yeah.
But it's like they're all wrapped in a candy shell of terrible stereotypes and awful people.
Oh my god.
And
just
so many things.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So we didn't really realize how bad this movie was, I think, when we picked it.
No, I think like it's one of those ones where everybody's all like, it's so good. Or like, you know, like they always bring it up. It's not on any lists, obviously, because it's not good. But it's never been one, like I've probably seen it like twice, maybe. There are parts that I like have no memory of at all. So,
well, yeah. So like I remembered bits and pieces, like the scene at the like outdoor movie, and mostly that. I think that's basically my number one memory.
Yeah,
of this movie
and then I remember
Yeah.
Justin Chambers, because after this, he became very, very famous. And
yes, that's true.
That's when I think probably watched it again, not because of that. It's not like I'm a Karev head. I stopped watching Grey's at season 3 or something. But
oh yeah.
But still, everyone was like, "Oh my god, he was that guy," you know.
Yeah.
So it was like that, and like other than that, I definitely didn't remember that it's a Judy Greer that we'll get to. Definitely remember that. Joanna Gleason and Kathy Najimy are in this movie.
I know, like the cast is really good.
I know,
and like that's really the only thing that wins you over is like
and Kevin Pollak is there for one scene. One scene.
Yeah,
he's in.
No, exactly. And like Jennifer Lopez, she plays a terrible character, but she's very good. And so Matthew McConaughey. Like they're both good and very charming. And if it was people who were less good than them, it would be completely unwatchable because you would just be so mad at the awfulness of these characters. Yeah. So if you have forgotten, I'll try to do a brief, slightly as less judgmental summary as I can. Okay. So Jennifer Lopez is a wedding planner. She is inexplicably playing somebody who is Italian with parents, like first generation Italian. I don't like why. She's not Italian. She's Puerto Rican. It doesn't, the specifics of her being Italian don't really matter, but the fact that she is like a child of immigrants is relevant.
It would have been easy to do since
you could have done
is.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
immigrants is a complicated subject, but it still could have been like it didn't matter for the storyline.
Yes, exactly. Like, it just needed
like whether they're immigrants or whatever.
Yeah, like basically somewhere where it would be somewhat believable that her parents had an arranged marriage. I think that is kind of important to the plot. Anyways, yeah, so she's a very like high level wedding planner, and she wants to get this like super fancy like daughter of a billionaire or something wedding, and if she decides that, or she convinces her boss that if she like books this client and does their wedding, then she'll be made partner. And then in the midst of that, she almost gets hit by a runaway garbage dumpster and gets rescued by Matthew McConaughey. And they sort of hit it off, have lots of chemistry and lustful feelings for each other. And then it turns out he's the groom, the fiancé of the fancy wedding. And terrible hijinks ensue. Terrible hijinks ensue. She is mad at him, he's mad at her, but they still want to bang, basically. Like, I don't think they're actually in love, but they just are having lustful feelings for each other. She tries to convince the bride to still go through with it because she's a terrible person. And in the midst of all this, her father has brought over like an old like the son of a family friend from Italy to try to set up his daughter. And he's awful. This is the guy who's played by the guy who goes on to star in Grey's Anatomy, with the worst Italian accent that you've ever heard. Anyway, so she like doesn't want to marry him, but then decides at the last minute that she might as well, because I don't really know.
I think because he's nice for like 5 minutes. Like,
yeah, he is nice. Like he does genuinely nice. Yeah. He doesn't know her, but he genuinely I think he genuinely thinks that he likes her and loves her and should marry her, even though they barely know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she decides to marry him on the same day as the fancy wedding that she's like so dedicated to
her job.
Anyways.
Yeah.
And then Matthew McConaughey and the girl, they call off their wedding sort of kind of mutually.
Mm-hmm.
It ends up mutual and it's fine, but like very last minute, like right before they're supposed to walk down the aisle, and he goes and tries to interrupt her wedding, but she's already decided not to do it, and then they kiss the end. Yeah. It's really bad.
It's really
bad. So yeah, do you want to talk about some observations?
Oh yeah. So again, like this is a very cookie cutter rom-com that we will find as we move forward, but it's partially like there's so many people attached to it beforehand that I think is where the Italian part came from. Like if it was in the script, then that's fine. If like they still could have changed it. Perfectly reasonable that they could have changed that for sure. But also like it doesn't make sense. Like Sarah Michelle Gellar was attached to this, and they were going to be like, she's Italian. Like, I guess they made Justin Chambers super Italian and not in a good way, so I guess they just really didn't care.
I guess so. Also, it was going to be Brendan Fraser was one of the guys that was planned to do it. Oh, good time.
The cliches and stereotypes of Italy, Greece, at some point for no reason whatsoever. There's absolutely no reason that has to be in there. They just thought it was funny, I guess, to make fun of Greek people. There's some fun 2001 gay panic jokes. Somebody uses the R word at one point. It's just bad. All of it.
Bad.
Plus the tiny glasses. Like it looks good on Matthew McConaughey, but it's still 2001, and we need to.
They're very. Yeah, no, his look is dated, but it comes from a time when I was
into it
20, so I was very into it. And yeah, that kind of stuff.
Some other observations before we get into a giant rant. Just get the shoe after the dumpster goes by.
Right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Also, I read this one on IMDb. Why wasn't this super famous person who's getting married's fiance's photo in the magazine about her and her wedding?
Yeah. Her engagement was announced in some fancy magazine with no like picture of the fiance. It was just about her and her family.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, and he's a doctor, and he picks her up. Well, he throws her on the ground, which that's another thing. Then he picks her up and moves her around, checks her, and then he picks her up again, takes her to the hospital, and then puts a collar around her neck. I've watched 15 seasons of ER, and as for mentioned, 3 seasons of Grey's Anatomy. No, you're not. You're a bad doctor.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a first responder. Also, like, he's a pediatrician, not a paramedic. Those are different skill sets. Like, if you have somebody who's, like, possibly has a neck injury on the road, you don't just take them to the hospital. You
call the ambulance where they can pick them up. And
speaking of him being a bad doctor, okay, so he has this whole thing where he only likes to eat the brown M&Ms, and he throws the other ones just in the bushes. But he only likes the brown M&Ms because he thinks that they're less dye because chocolate is brown. But the whole point of M&Ms is that the outer coating is candy, not chocolate, so it doesn't melt when you touch it. So therefore the brown ones have the most food coloring.
Yeah, it says in the trivia that because it's just artificial coloring and candy, the lighter ones would have less food coloring because, similar to anything else. I mean, also, add more color to make it brown.
If you're worried about being healthy and food dye, like,
don't eat M&Ms
fruits and vegetables.
Like,
yeah.
Or if you're worried about artificial coloring for some reason and think that chocolate is fine on the other hand, just buy a bar of chocolate. You're at a movie theater or a concession stand. Or get,
like, glossettes or something. I mean, they're, like, mostly wax, but, you know.
But still, like, if food coloring is your issue. And then another thing I was getting really mad about this while I was thinking about it in the shower the other day is that then she repeats it back to him at the end, like, all quirky and romantic. And I'm like, this is how fake science gets started. If she had told one person and that person had put it on their Facebook profile, then M&M's would be gone, Skittles would be gone, we would have no food coloring. I just ate some Reese's Pieces. We wouldn't have those. Everything would be gone because this one guy is an idiot. And that's how this starts. That's why we're in this mess right now. People. Sorry.
A big problem. Okay, so yeah, those are, like, I guess mostly non-plot related observations. Okay, so Judy Greer, who plays her, like, assistant / friend, although like she didn't even get invited to her wedding, so I'm not really sure how close they are. Anyways,
I know,
but I think she also is, like, one of those people who doesn't really have friends because she's so dedicated to her career. Eye roll. So Judy Greer, like, convinces Eddie or Steve to go with them to watch the movie in the park, and then magically has plans that she forgot about to fix somebody's fax machine, which I was like, oh, 2001, so cute. But, like, so I can see, like, yeah, you could hang out with people who are of the opposite sex that aren't your fiance, but, like, how do you hang out with them for that long and not mention that you're engaged? And then also, how does it get to the point where you're, like, dancing and talking about dance lessons and you decide, like, actively decide to not bring up the fact that you're engaged?
Yeah.
Like, he says that he took dance lessons when he was a kid as his mom, but you know what, he could also say that, like, doesn't seem weird of, like, my girlfriend in Canada, or, like, that you're being weird is like, oh, I've been taking dance lessons because I'm getting married. Yeah. But you should, like, mention that before. Like, especially when the friend leaves and it's, like, obvious. That she's trying to set them up. Like, oh, your friend's so funny, like, but I'm engaged. Like,
yeah, and so then she's completely so over controlling, and it's so funny that, oh, this is a real disease. But anyway, that she's like that, and then she's cute and giggly, and then she's so, like, she lies to the bride about this so that she can get her promotion, all of this stuff. And then on the day of the wedding, she's like, no, I have plans.
Yeah.
Plans that, like, a date that I set. It wasn't like oh no, it has to be this day kind of thing. It was,
like, because he was getting deported or
purposely set a wedding to be on this day, and I'm such a control freak, but I am going to leave the biggest job that I have. And she doesn't get that promotion.
No, she does.
I know. I hope they take it back. She did a horrible job.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hire her.
But yeah, the fact that she, like, I can see, like, a wedding planner, it's not really the wedding planner's business to be, like, a couples therapist or, like, are you sure you really want to marry this guy? But, like, she's the girl that he's emotionally cheating on his fiance with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it so much, and I think I hate the movie because of it, because it really wants us to think that she's, like, trying to do the right thing. And it's like, no, like, she's doing the complete opposite of the right thing.
The right thing would be to tell the bride what happened.
Yeah, or to tell the groom to, like, be honest, and also just like, it's a conflict of interest, like, don't plan their wedding.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just like,
like, the scene where he brings it up, but the Matthew McConaughey and his fiance, they, like, the scene where they have, like, they decide to call off their wedding, it's way too last minute, but, like, it's a good conversation. Like, it's a conversation that they should have had, like, before they got engaged, maybe. Yeah. And then, I guess this doesn't really have anything to do with the plot, but it was very much, like, out of left field. So they're looking at statues for, like, decor for the wedding, and they knock one over and the penis falls off, and it's so funny, but not. No. But it was so, like, forced and trying to be, like, edgy or
raunchy,
like, raunchy or whatever, and it was very much like, oh, you're trying to be as successful as Something About Mary. But this is not Something About Mary. This is like a cheesy rom-com.
Yeah. The other scene that has nothing to do with anything is when they run into her old boyfriend at the flower mart. And this is weird, but like I watch a lot of rom-coms, but so like it didn't actually sound that bad. Like they were making out in the car, in her car. But I'm like, so they weren't like doing it in the church aisle or something? Of like, I don't know, maybe I've just watched too many of that scene. You've watched
too many rom-coms. Yeah. It is bad, but also
of course it's bad, but like...
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, and she like completely breaks down. Yeah. And like, we don't know anything about this beforehand. Like, not even when Judy Greer's like, you should have a date. And her dad is like, you should go on a date. She doesn't mention this at all. Like, I'm not over this guy. He did this all stuff to me. He really messed me up. Like, none of that.
Well, and it's like the instigating incident incident for like the two of them, for the two main characters to like
have a romantic
have a connection.
Yeah.
But the whole premise of that incident is that she's not over her ex from like 2+ years ago.
Yeah.
Which, like, no judgment if you're not over your ex after 2 years.
Oh, totally.
But then it don't use that as an incident to like hook up with a guy who's engaged.
Yeah.
And also,
like, literally, you want to do this thing to another person that you're not over that happened to you.
Exactly. Yeah, she's doing the exact same thing. Ugh. And also, if you're trying to not fall in love with somebody, like, don't light a romantic fire and roast marshmallows over it.
Yeah.
And also, she was very drunk.
I know. Like, it was weird and bad. And then also, it like back to the boyfriend and the woman that he ended up with. It was weird. It was like his college friend, but then she planned a wedding shower. I was like, who is this person and why is she in your bridal party? Like, the story that she told didn't make sense.
Yeah, it was so strange. It was like it was a scene from a different movie. And then at the end of everything, they have their romantic kiss, and it's whatever because you just don't like either of them at this point. And all of a sudden, we jump to J-Lo's hit song "My Love Don't Cost a Thing," which has nothing to do with the movie. It doesn't like thematically sound like any of the music in the movie.
Nope. Like, the release of that song and the release of this movie coming out at the same time is what launched J-Lo into being J-Lo. And like, and I'm not mad about that. But
no, and I'm not mad about her for like getting her music in the movie. But
no, exactly. And I also don't hate that song, so it's fine. No. But like, it doesn't make sense. It's nothing to do with anything.
But like, did she not have any ballads on that album? I don't remember that album other than like the 2 songs that I know. Yep. All right. Well, we've probably
so much yelling.
Yeah, yelled enough about this movie. Should we summarize some tropes?
Yeah. So the first one I have is, like, as we talked about, I have to do this thing to get the big promotion.
Yeah.
And that's, there's so many.
It's the premise of like 50% of the Hallmark romance movie.
Oh, genre. Yeah, definitely. And then they get it, and then they leave their city for the man. Yeah. And then my friends and I just sit, and we're like, we always have messages of like, but how is she going to pay rent? Because she just quit her job.
Yeah, exactly.
A different city.
This isn't really a trope so much as just woefully underusing an amazing actress, Judy Greer playing the BFF instead of the main character.
Yeah, it's a trope because it's going to be in a lot of movies.
Yeah, it'll be a recurring casting choice, but I don't know if it really counts as a trope. Although, oh man, her lipstick in this movie is horrendous.
It's not her fault. It was 2001. We all made bad choices.
I know, but concealer with like lip gloss over top is not lipstick.
No,
I have learned this now. I definitely did it.
So this one is weird, and it goes back to like this plot not making any sense. So there's a very like kind of throwaway mention about how with the bride telling J-Lo that she's gonna make Matthew McConaughey change his job after they get married and like be a doctor on a fundraising committee or something. I don't.
Yeah, or like some kind of like a hospital board or something.
Hospital board or something. And she's like, J-Lo's like, oh, he wouldn't want to do that. I would know because I am in love with him after 2 days. And the bride is like, oh, he will. He just doesn't know it yet. And so they're that kind of trope level of the bride is actually evil, so it's okay that you're basically going to be his mistress.
Yes.
But then that goes away. It goes nowhere. It's not brought up in the breakup scene. It's not like never comes up again.
But I think it's also like a sign. Like it's not. I mean, yes, that's a terrible thing to say about a person, but it's also a sign of like she wants a husband who wants to do that. He is not that guy. So rather, like, and she realizes that by the end, and
so like it kind of leads to her realization, but the tropey part of it is the bride is actually a bad person, or the groom is a bad person, depending on who the protagonist is. But then so it's not a full trope in this movie because it only happens for half of a scene and then doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, and also it's like the side, well, like not the side character, but it's not the main. Yeah, like she's not the lead of the movie. Dramatic breakup or dramatic breakup, culling off of the wedding.
Yeah, I was just like, so Judy Greer is the only one who finds them. Like, she talks about having bridesmaids at some point. Where are her bridesmaids?
Well,
why isn't a wedding planner person in the bridal room? Like, I've been in there before. It's very busy in there all the time, constantly. And
like, the readiness she also of not have actual female friends? Like,
the readiness of the bride is what makes the wedding go on time. So you would think the wedding planner assistants would be in there.
You would think
like she's going to have bridesmaids because it's a whole thing about how she wanted teal for her bridesmaid dresses.
Ugh.
But they're not there.
No. Well,
she's alone in a room getting dressed into her poofy wedding dress.
I know. How did she zip up that dress?
How did she put her veil on? Like,
I don't know.
How did she put all those individual sparkles in her hair? Because it's 2001.
Oh, I know. Those little, like, twisty curly Q things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's another trope that we'll definitely have more of, which is like dramatically running or driving or whatever.
Yeah. To get stuck in traffic also.
Yeah. Like as well. Stuck in traffic, stuck in a line, stuck somewhere to get the girl or to get the guy.
Yeah. Something silly is in your way. Like in this way was a bicycle parade.
No, I think it was like a bicycle race.
No, but they were going really slow and waving at people.
Oh, it was like a fundraiser thing, like a yeah.
So what is
not a race, like a challenge thing?
Okay.
Yes.
Like, why are everybody waving at people on bikes if they'd ever seen that before?
Yeah. Should we talk about Bechdel test?
Well, so like this one is hard, and like this is why it's the conversation constantly, because they do talk about her job.
Yes.
So that
she talks about work and her career, and they talk.
Her career just happens to be about love.
Yeah, and she talks about Scrabble, which is, I guess, her only other interest. But she only talks about that with Matthew McConaughey, not with her other women. So it's hard because she's talking about her work and her career path, which is great, but
but like I think again that's like one scene, and then it's all thrown away because Judy Greer wants her to get the guy also. So I give this Bechdel test a pass, but a failing pass.
Well, but also like it definitely it maybe passes on a technicality, but it shouldn't, because like JLo has one female friend that is not even close enough to invite to her wedding, and the like other main character, the bride, apparently has no female friends that are close enough
at all
to talk to.
Yeah,
she has like bridesmaids presumably. Anyway,
but they like it's not even a maid of honor. Like nobody comes with them to plan anything.
Yeah, no, exactly. Other than her mom.
Yeah,
who is awesome.
Which we'll get to. Don't worry.
Oh, don't worry. All right.
Okay.
Time for pie?
No, we got to do our hot take.
Oh, hot takes. Oh, time for hot takes.
Which you may have guessed already.
Yep.
Matthew McConaughey's pretty attractive, always.
Yes.
In this movie, with those tiny glasses, even though his hair is weird at points.
Yeah.
But he's a giant douchebag.
Yeah, he's so awful in this movie.
He's so bad. He talks about himself in the third person.
He does repeatedly, and you find him charming because he's Matthew McConaughey and are of a certain age. But his character is just awful in this movie, so it's very conflicting.
Yeah, no, he just like, you almost kiss somebody else because you ask them to dance in the rain, and then you still don't bring it up. Like, and that's the thing that always bothers me with all movies and television shows. Like, the scene ends because it starts to rain, but like, did they just go, oh, and like run away from each other in the park? Like, how did they get home?
Yeah, did they both just like run to their own cars? I don't know.
Like,
or is it like that awkward thing of like, we run away from each other and then like 2 steps later you realize that you are like actually parked in the same parking lot and you have to awkwardly
and then you like not talk, like,
yeah. So not a lot of hot takes in this movie other than it doesn't hold up at all.
This movie's a bad movie.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, now it's time for pie. Okay. So we've got, I think, four components to this pie today. Well, let's start with the one we just talked about, Matthew McConaughey and his very attractive glasses wearing. It's not a large percent. If he wasn't playing such a douche, it would be
larger.
A larger percent. I'm gonna go with like 3?
Yep, that sounds good.
Yeah. What's next, do we think?
Let's go with the other fun one. Joanna Gleason and what's-his-face from Murphy Brown being hilarious.
Oh my gosh. And
so they're the parents. Similarly, oddly, to Ryan and Sharpay's parents in High School Musical 2.
Yes,
they're just super
very
rich
similar.
And don't care about anything. They're drunk all the time. They are like loving towards their daughter in a weird like way of like, sure, have this giant wedding. We don't care. We're super rich. Which, so like, but that's literally all we know. We don't know if it's a good relationship or anything. But they're hilarious, and I'm in it for them.
Yes, indeed. They are great. And they like just drive around in limos and it's awesome.
Joanna Gleason, they're like, no, you can't sing. And then she like pretends to sing badly, and it's so amazing. And then she goes home to her Tonys, and also Christopher Guest, which is weird but awesome.
So good. And then at the actual wedding, she's like, I can't find my lucky mic. I won't be able to sing. They're so great.
I'm gonna say 30.
That's where I was going. I was going somewhere in the 30s, so I'm good with 30.
Okay, let's go with 30 because
solid.
I liked it.
Yeah, they were among the more redeeming characters. Okay, food waste.
Ugh.
Oh man, so much food waste.
Stop throwing away your M&Ms.
And plate waste.
Yes.
So many plates are broken at some bad Jewish wedding.
No, it's the Greek one.
Yeah, and there's like just mountains of food that nobody touches, and then so many M&Ms thrown in the bushes.
So many M&Ms. If you don't want to eat M&Ms, buy a different kind of candy. So mad.
I don't know, like 10?
Yeah, 10 is good.
Yeah.
So that gets 43, which means we have, math. 57. Really bad stereotypes. Hey!
Oh. Yay!
So
everybody's
fun.
fave? But there's so many.
There's so many. Like, it just doesn't stop. It's not like this is 2001. It's very dated. Like, the first time they made a gay joke, I was like, it's 2001. Here we are. But it just kept getting worse.
Keeps going. And it's
then I was like, why is J-Lo Italian?
The Greek wedding stereotype, the actor who grew up in Ohio to, like, English parents playing an Italian
for
stereotype.
No reason. Like, why
who drives a Vespa.
They hire an Italian person? I don't understand.
Yeah. And like the career woman who's like so focused on her job that she can't fall in love. Yeah. That's also a bad stereotype.
Yep. And like that she has the only thing she has in her life is her OCD.
Yeah. Also,
all she does at night is fold her t-shirts and vacuum her blinds.
Indeed. And like also the concept that is what OCD is like, is just that you're really clean and organized and not, struggling with
the other issues.
A mental health disorder.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do we think these cute kids are gonna make it?
Fuck no.
Yeah.
As I put in these notes and on my other notes, no way in hell.
Nope. Like, I would be surprised if they made it a month. of dating. Because they're both awful. They both, well, he especially, like, doesn't really see anything wrong with, like,
anything that he did.
Yeah, other than just, like, I didn't love her, but I was engaged to her, but because I didn't love her, it's okay that I simultaneously fell in love with somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Tried to, like, he was trying to have more romantic moments with the wedding planner than with his...
Yeah, like, he actively went back after the candle thing and was like, let's do it. Let's just get down and do this.
Yeah.
While she was actively drunk.
Anyways, I think we've probably ranted about this movie enough.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, everybody.
We're going to pick some better movies, I swear.
We will. Hopefully with less random food waste.
Oh, in 2 weeks, we're going to do The Wedding Singer.
Hooray! I haven't watched this in a long time. I'm a little nervous.
I know, I am nervous now, too, because it's similar era, but I think it'll be good.
Of, like, production level. Of production, Indeed. You mean? Yeah. But there's definitely some cute parts. So.
There are, yeah. I remember having some charming moments and at least good music.
That brings us to the end of our episode. You can rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts, and please do if you haven't yet, because this is a new venture. You can find us on social media at Charts and Hearts Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and Charts and Hearts on Twitter, and on our website, chartsandhearts.com. And you can also submit your suggestions for rom-coms and tropes there as well.
If you want to hear more about this month's theme of wedding season, you can join us on Patreon. We are at Charts and Hearts Club on Patreon, and we will have a special bonus episode there coming out soon for my best friend's wedding.
Ooh.
Share with us your thoughts on this movie. How do you feel about all the things? How do you feel about M&Ms and food dye?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, we're still working on an outro.
We're working on it. So, bye.
Bye.